Samsung shipped 53.5 million smartphones in Q2 2024, while Xiaomi shipped 42.3 and Apple came with 45.6. So, since the beginning of time, we always have Apple versus Samsung. So, people with choosing between the two phones. And they always had the main market share when it comes to devices. Of course, you can choose Google, but the two main companies have always been Apple and Samsung. Specifically when it comes to shipment, because if we see how many devices each company are shipping each year, each quarter, this is something we have to consider. So I got some numbers here, and considering the data that came out from a report that was shared from Canalys, I have everything here so I can give you some numbers as well. Samsung shipped 53.5 million smartphones in Q2 2024, while Xiaomi shipped 42.3 and Apple came with 45.6. So here you can already see that Xiaomi is catching up to Apple. And the main reasons are two, in my opinion. The first one is people are tired of always choosing the same devices. As you know, both Apple and Samsung, even if I just switch to the S24 Ultra, always have more or less the same design. This has been the case for the past, I would say, 5 years. So you cannot tell, let's say, an iPhone 11 from an iPhone 15. Well, we can because maybe we know more, but the average user doesn't see a big difference. And nowadays, upgrading every year doesn't make any sense. You might get some new features related to AI, but most people don't care about those features. That's why this is a big deal for these big companies, because if they don't innovate, if they don't bring something new to the table, people are just switching to different brands. I did it. I'm the example of this. I was with Apple for more than 10 years. I've always used iPhones, Macs, everything related to Apple, and now I did the switch and I'm happy because I feel that I'm using something that feels fresh, at least in my hands. And this is the case for Samsung users switching to iOS or iPhone. Let me know in the comments if you did a switch, which switch you did, so I know what is happening as well for people watching these videos. But specifically, there's a number that we have to see, that we have to look at when we look at this specific report that just came out. Why? Because if you go on the article that I will link down below, you would see this graph over here. So again, you see Samsung that is leading, then you have Apple, and then you have Xiaomi. Why is this important? If you see the last section, so the last column of this graph, you will see that the annual growth of Xiaomi has been 27% compared to 1% Samsung and 6% Apple. Why is this such a big deal? Because this company is getting more market share every single quarter. Of course, they already have a big impact and big access to main markets, which are, for example, that is India and of course China. So they have big positioning and big market share in these markets, and now they are expanding in other markets. There was a news about Xiaomi making a car, and of course this is something that makes people more curious about a specific brand. So now they're starting thinking and realizing maybe this is not just one brand that is just selling in China and that's it. This is a huge brand that is growing year after year. Again, we can see here 27% increase. It's really a really big deal compared to huge corporations like Apple and Samsung. So, can Apple and Samsung bounce back from this? Well, the real answer here is maybe, because if they start innovating again, if they start feeling like brands that are willing to risk something to start innovating in some fields, yes, maybe they have a possibility. I think the main issue for these big companies is the brand fatigue. As I was saying before, people that are used to buy iPhones and Samsung's devices every single year, they get tired if the design doesn't change it drastically, if there's not enough innovation. Yes, again, software could be something that you can say, oh, maybe this feature is cool. We think about, for example, what Apple did, which they just provided the AI just for the iPhone 15 Pros. That is not a nice thing to do to your customers, because if somebody, let's say, bought an iPhone 15, by the way, it's a really expensive phone, and I'm sure the processor is more than capable to handle AI requests. Why you are forcing people to upgrade? This to me is the data that shows that Apple is looking for people to buy updated phones. So they're trying to make you do this by limiting the features that older devices might get. I can understand 3 or 4 years devices, but to me, it's unacceptable that a company doesn't give like AI feature, a software feature, because Siri is fine. I mean, then it relies on ChatGPT to do the rest. There's plenty of possibility to implement an AI on iPhone 15, on iPhone 14, and there's just no excuse for Apple to do this. In relation to this, the iPad that they just released, there's no point of upgrading to the newer iPads if they have an iPad that's 2018 going up. It's more than capable to handle whatever you need to do. What are they doing to force you to upgrade? Implementing an Apple Pencil that you can use only with the latest iPad. These are just two things that I'm recalling recently that Apple did to force people to upgrade. And this is why, because they know, because they can see the numbers as well, their people are not buying anymore, they're not upgrading anymore, they're keeping whatever device they have because it's more than capable, and giving and releasing just software features alone is not enough. So the only tool they have to have people buy new devices, just buy the latest, to have the latest tools and the latest AI features, or whatever the case might be. So to sum up this video, Xiaomi is implementing and innovating, and again, the feeling of trying something new is catching up with both Apple and Samsung. Samsung, of course, has a huge ecosystem. I already made a video about this. If you want to watch that video, it will be linked down below. They have TVs, they have everything else. I mean, washers, ovens, everything. So this is more specific to smartphones, so that market. And for them as well, they can feel the pressure of a new company catching up with them. Again, 27% growth, it's a lot. If we compare these huge corporations, let me know what you think. If you have an insight on why you want to switch, or why you think Xiaomi is catching up to Apple and Samsung, or what Apple is doing that's maybe limiting the brand as well with Samsung, let me know in the comments. Let's have, as usual, an healthy discussion. I want to know what you guys think. As you know, on this channel, I like to interact with you guys. So yeah, let me know what you think. For now, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you very soon in the next video.